Hey everyone, what's up? I'm Justal. This video is all about my thoughts on the movie Thunderbolts. I watched it not too long ago. Unfortunately, not in theaters like I wanted, but through a cam rip. Luckily, the quality wasn't that bad, so I didn't miss out on much. In this video, I'll share my general thoughts on the movie, break down some moments I really want to talk about, and of course, I'll cover the 2 post-credit scenes. By the time you're watching this, I'm guessing a lot of you have already seen the movie. But just in case, I'll start with a spoiler-free section, and then I'll dive into full spoilers later on. Don't worry, I'll give you a clear warning before the spoilers hit, or if I'm not too lazy, I'll even add timestamps. So go ahead, grab a cup of tea or coffee, some snacks, and settle in for my very important opinion. One you simply cannot survive without. You can support me by subscribing to the channel, joining the Telegram, and of course, hitting that like button and dropping a comment. All the links you need are in the description. All right, enough intro. Let's talk about one of the most anticipated Marvel movies of 2025. Let's start with my overall impression of the movie. I was definitely looking forward to this one. My hopes were high because it brings together a bunch of lesser-known characters from the MCU, characters we haven't seen much of, and it felt like Marvel was finally giving them the spotlight. Like, hey, we've got these cool characters, too, and now they're getting their own team up. Overall, I liked the cast, but I've only got 2 real favorites, Yelena Belova and, of course, Bucky Barnes. Maybe my expectations were a little too high. Since Marvel hasn't really been hitting it out of the park lately, you can probably count the good recent films on one hand. All I really wanted was a solid, fun movie. Something that could bring back those MCU vibes from the past. And honestly, even with those high expectations, I still enjoyed it. Still, it wasn't perfect, far from it. But I had a good time. Some parts felt a bit weak, like the film wasn't hitting as hard as it could have. But then certain scenes would come along and win me back. Let's be real. After Endgame, the MCU kind of fell off. A lot of recent projects just haven't hit the same, but this one, it's nowhere near as bad as the Marvels or Captain America 4. It kept me entertained the whole way through, no skipping, no urge to turn it off. It doesn't have those holy crap emotional highs you might expect from the best Marvel moments, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's more like a chill movie to enjoy in the evening. Just sit back and relax. If you're a hardcore MCU fan who's seen all the movies and series, you'll probably appreciate it more. A lot of these characters come from earlier projects, and knowing their backstories definitely helps. Ideally, you should have seen Black Widow, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier to really get the character dynamics and vibes. Let's talk about screen time. Don't expect every character to get equal screen time. They don't. I kind of assumed they'd all be equally important, but that wasn't the case. Yelena and Red Guardian definitely take the spotlight more than others. Florence Pugh absolutely nailed it again. I've loved her performance since her first MCU appearance. No complaints. David Harbour as Red Guardian was also great. It's only his second time in the MCU, and he crushed it. Bucky, though, I was bummed. He didn't get enough screen time. He's one of my favorite characters, and I was hoping he'd have a bigger role. But he really took a back seat. Sure, his storyline from Captain America 4 is continuing, and it's nice to see those connections. But it still felt like the script was focused on a few favorite characters and left others behind. Let's talk about the new characters, and especially the Sentry. This was his debut in the MCU, and they did a pretty solid job with him. No spoilers yet, but he's a super interesting character, funny, kind of lonely, and easy to sympathize with. A lot of people might even see a bit of themselves in him. Marvel movies used to leave you with a lot of what's next kind of questions, but this one? Not really. This is more of a self-contained story. Just sit back, enjoy, follow the plot. No heavy thinking required. That's both a strength and a weakness. On one hand, it's refreshing. On the other, it leaves you wanting more depth. I did wish some scenes had been explored further or had more emotional weight, but it is what it is. Let's talk about the story. The plot is pretty straightforward. A bunch of mercenaries, strangers to each other except maybe Bucky and U.S. Agent, are thrown together and forced to work as a team. Of course, there's conflict, mistrust, and clashing egos. They're not heroes. They're people with baggage. The main villain setup is a bit different from your typical Marvel formula, which I appreciated. It's hard to explain without spoilers, but I will say the final act is unexpected. The ending isn't your usual punch the bad guy and win scenario. It's more creative and a nice change of pace. The directing overall felt solid to me. Nothing stood out as bad or sloppy. Some shots were genuinely beautiful, though I didn't love the color grading. Lots of dark blue tones with occasional reddish highlights. Just not my thing, but that's personal taste. Let's talk about Easter eggs and vibes. The movie is packed with Easter eggs and little nods, especially to the Avengers. There are some solid jokes tied to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's fun seeing how each character's past mistakes still shape them. These aren't squeaky clean superheroes. They've done some dark stuff. But now they're on a different path, whether they like it or not. It's cool seeing characters evolve. One movie they're this, the next they've grown, changed. That's the kind of character work I like. Okay, spoilers start here, so skip ahead if you haven't seen the movie yet. Let's talk about Taskmaster. What the hell was that? Marvel completely wasted her despite pretending otherwise in the trailers. She was barely in the movie and got killed off with a basic gunshot to the head. Really? Isn't she supposed to have some kind of bulletproof armor or something? It felt lazy and anticlimactic. I wasn't the biggest fan of how they originally portrayed Taskmaster, but still, she deserved a better exit than that. Let's talk about the Sentry again, but spoiler edition. This guy's a beast. I loved that moment when he touched Yelena and triggered one of her worst fears. So well done. But it bugged me how easily Contessa Allegra took control of him. Like, way too easily. He's insanely powerful and he just followed orders for a bit. Me. Also, he wasn't in the movie that much. Kind of disappointing. Let's talk about the final fight and the villain. The real villain here is Allegra de Fontaine, but the team ends up fighting the Void, a massive force that escapes and starts wrecking NYC. The final battle was unique. They didn't actually fight Bob physically. It all happened inside his head. They had to convince him to take control back, not beat him up. Kinda weird, kinda cool. And the Void's design? Top tier. All black with glowing eyes, visually awesome. Let's talk about the post-credit scenes. There are two post-credit scenes. The first is kind of a throwaway. Red Guardian with a makeover eating cereal with his face on the box. It's funny, but that's about it. The second one, though? Goosebumps. It jumps forward 14 months after the movie. The team is at their new HQ, maybe Avengers Tower? Yelena mentions that Sam Wilson isn't thrilled that the Thunderbolts are calling themselves the new Avengers, especially since he wanted to rebuild the Avengers first. Everyone has updated looks and suits, even Bucky, with a bold new red star on his metal arm. And fun fact, the scene was shot by the Russo brothers, not the Thunderbolts director. Sebastian Stan had shaved his head by then, so they used a wig. Their new suits also feature a stylized A logo, which, honestly, looks kinda ugly. Might be a joke, honestly. Red Guardian even suggests renaming the group New Avengers, with a Z. Genius. They're also keeping the Sentry close by, but he's not using his powers anymore, afraid of releasing the Void again. And then, boom. A dimensional ship appears, with the Fantastic Four logo on it. Yup, that Fantastic Four. And they're coming this summer. Apparently, this entire scene might show up again in Avengers, Doomsday. Just like how a scene from Ant-Man was reused in Civil War. I'm hyped. Let me know what you thought of the movie down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button if you haven't yet. See you in the next one.